So, St. Patty's Day passed, but I think it's important that we address something that took place between President Joe Biden and the Irish Prime Minister. Now, Ireland has been extremely vocal in regards to calling out the genocide that is happening in Palestine. And this flew under my radar, and I think it's only fair that we address it here, where the Irish Prime Minister, in like 31 seconds, choose out Joe Biden. So let's go ahead and play this video. And shout out to Neoliberal Tears for pulling this video up. Let's enjoy it.
As you know, the Irish people are deeply troubled about the catastrophe that's unfolding before our eyes in Gaza. And when I travel the world, leaders often ask me why the Irish have such empathy for the Palestinian people. And the answer is simple. We see our history in their eyes, a story of displacement, of dispossession, and national identity questioned and denied, forced emigration, discrimination, and now hunger. As you know,
and that is just a 1-2 gut check to Biden. The Irish Prime Minister calls for a ceasefire during remarks with Biden. So again, let's go and pull up this video, pull up this article. President Biden met with Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar Friday, where the leader said he thinks there should be a ceasefire as soon as possible between Israel and Hamas. Well, I hate to let you know, Mr. Prime Minister, but Biden knew about the indiscriminate bombings way back in October. The Irish Prime Minister said he was keen to speak with Biden about the war in Gaza as the two leaders met in the White House to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And I hope all of you had a very safe St. Patty's Day. You know, my view that we need to have a ceasefire as soon as possible to get food and medicine in, to get the hostages out. Which Biden is rejecting, and I agree. Well, Biden, you're the president of the United States, buddy. You do realize that, you know, kind of, sort of, this is going to be a little bit of a shocking statement here. You are the leader of a global superpower. The prime minister continued saying he and Biden need to talk about how we can make that happen and move towards a two-state solution. That, Mr. Prime Minister, that ain't happening. Netanyahu said that ain't happening. Which I think is the only way we'll have lasting peace and security. Biden responded again like a robot that's just on one programming. I agree. Both leaders have faced increased pressure from their respective countries to get Israel to agree to a ceasefire, which is not going to happen. So remaining hostages can escape Hamas control, and so necessary humanitarian aid can reach Palestinians in Gaza. As I've covered in the previous segment, where TYT, Cenk and Ann are saying the government doesn't do bad things anymore, Biden and his administration knew that Israel was targeting civilian locations, residential areas, hospitals, community centers, refugee centers. They knew. And we have covered on the show, but not only Hard Lens Media, Due Dissidents, The Jimmy Dore Show, Revolutionary Blackout Network, Indie News Network, and everybody else. Apologies if I'm missing anybody. But they all said the same thing too. They all showed firsthand how Netanyahu is dead set on having absolute final victory. He's still going to do military options in the city of Rafah. He's ignoring, giving the middle finger. He's giving two middle fingers to everybody in the international community. Good God. They're shooting at people when they're rushing to get flour and food. They're targeting hospitals. They're going after children. What does that tell you? And you want a two-state solution? Like, Mr. Prime Minister, I agree with your speech. 31 seconds, very powerful. But Netanyahu said he doesn't want a two-state solution. People in his government don't want a two-state solution. They want a solution, all right, and it's not a good one. After Biden's recent State of the Union address, he was caught on a hot mic during a conversation with Senator Michael Bennet, who urged the president to keep pressure on Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over the worsening humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Biden told the senator that he told Netanyahu that they were going to have a come-to-Jesus moment. His remarks follow a shift in intensity as the president ramps up his public frustrations with Netanyahu and Israel's plans to invade the city of Rafah, where more than 1 million civilians fled after the start of the war. In recent weeks, Biden announced that the U.S. and other allied countries would begin airdropping humanitarian aid to civilians in Gaza and said the military would build a temporary pier near the territory to deliver more supply lines, which is shockingly close to this oil location. Who knew? Shockingly close there. Top Democrats, including Senate Majority Leader Chucky Boy Schumer, called for new elections in Israel. And by the way, in that video, he didn't call for new elections like right now. He called for new elections once the war winds down. Okay? So that doesn't mean next week or next month the war is going to end. No. What Chucky Boy Schumer said was once the war winds down, once the war is over, there should be new elections. You think Netanyahu is going to make sure that the war is over? No, he's going to drag this thing on as long as he can because it's his wag the dog moment. Continue on. Again, let me just read this paragraph again. Top Democrats, including Senate Majority Leader Chucky Boy Schumer, called for new elections in Israel and criticized Netanyahu's handling of the war with Hamas. Biden said he was informed about Schumer's opinion and said it was a good speech and thinks many Americans shared the senator's concern. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know about you folks, but it doesn't look like the war is going to be winding down anytime soon. The war is not going to be over anytime soon. It's kind of we're here at a point of no return. Okay, Netanyahu made it abundantly clear how he feels about it, and the Irish Prime Minister, I'll give him this 31 seconds, very powerful. His speech, his conversation with President Joe Biden, all sounds good on paper, but until the international community and world leaders come together in one voice to really do something to stop the genocide in Gaza, all this is hot air. Now, I do like President Biden being called out, but there is another person that needs to be called out and more specifically needs to be stopped, and that's Netanyahu. Okay? He is not letting up. There's numerous examples all over social media of the crimes taking place in Gaza. Men, women, children decimated, destroyed, lives forever ruined. I have no idea what reconstruction looks like. Hell, I don't even know what a post-war Gaza looks like. Most of it looks like a moonscape. And you think Israel's just going to leave once the war is over? Once the conflict's done? No, they are not going anywhere. They're staying right there. They're not going to let up. And the international community, and more importantly, this administration gave 2 thumbs up of approval. They knew. But don't worry, folks. Our government doesn't do bad things anymore. It's all A-okay, right? Stop asking questions.